Welcome to Not Your Average Counsellor, the space where we tackle the unfiltered, often messy realities of love, relationships, and human connection. I'm V Vinci, and I am not your run-of-the-mill counsellor. With over a decade of experience working with clients and my own lived experiences to draw from, I help people all their hidden parts, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because only when we face our truth can we step into our most authentic selves. This series, Messy Truths, is where we dive headfirst into the things we're all thinking, but nobody's brave enough to say out loud. You know, those 2 a.m. thoughts that make you question everything about your relationship, your choices, your sanity. We're breaking down the tough questions people are often afraid to ask. The ones that make you squirm, laugh nervously, and then immediately text your friend saying, "Oh my God, did you hear that episode?" We'll explore the emotional, psychological, and social dynamics at play. Have you ever wondered if it's manipulative to use your partner's insecurities to win arguments? Or questioned whether you should stay with someone who refuses to work on their mental health? If you've ever found yourself thinking, is it selfish to not want children when my partner desperately does? Or should I fake orgasms to protect my partner's feelings? You're not alone, and you're definitely in the right place. No sugarcoating, no cliches, just honest conversations about the messy, complicated, sometimes hilarious reality of being human in relationships. This is where your inside thoughts finally get their moment in the spotlight. Let's get uncomfortable together. Hello there, and welcome back to Not Your Average Counsellor. I am V Vinci, and today we are diving into a question that makes a lot of people uncomfortable. How much should your partner's relationship with their ex affect yours? And I'll be honest with you, this is one of those topics that sounds simple until you're actually living with it. Because it's one thing to say, okay, I'm not threatened by your exes. And it's another thing entirely when your partner's ex is still in the picture. As a co-parent, as a friend, maybe a colleague, or someone who pops up in conversations more than you like. And that can stir up, some pretty intense insecurity, jealousy, confusion, or even fear. But here's the truth. Not all ex-relationships are a threat. Some are genuinely resolved, platonic, and part of a shared life history. Others, not so much. And the hard part is figuring out which one you're dealing with. So let's start with why exes feel threatening in the first place. Exes remind us that we're not the only person that our partner has loved. They remind us that our partner has a history, a past, a version of themselves that we've never met. And that can hit a vulnerable spot. It can stir up questions like, were they happier with them? Do they still think about them? Or are you being compared? Do I measure up? Even if nothing is happening, the presence of an ex can activate old wounds, especially if you've been cheated on, blindsided, replaced, or emotionally neglected in the past. So your nervous system remembers what your mind tries to forget. So discomfort is normal. Feeling uneasy doesn't automatically mean that something is wrong, but it does mean that something inside you needs attention. So here's what this looks like in everyday life. You're sitting on the couch with your partner and their phone lights up with a message from their ex. They casually say, "Oh, it's nothing." But your stomach does that really god-awful drop. Not because you don't trust them, but because your body remembers what it felt like to be blindsided before. Or maybe your partner mentions their ex in a story innocently, but you notice a shift in their tone, a softness, a nostalgia, and suddenly you're wondering if you're competing with the memory. But before jumping to conclusions, I want you to ask yourself, Why are they still in contact? There are plenty of legitimate reasons. Shared children, shared social circles, business or creative partnerships, a genuinely respectful past. Some situations make ongoing contact completely reasonable. Others can blur emotional boundaries. For example, co-parenting absolutely requires communication, but daily texting about random things might be crossing a line. Staying friends after a respectful breakup can be healthy, but hiding those interactions is not. Context is everything. The reason matters, the tone matters, the transparency matters, and the frequency matters. And your partner's response to your feelings matters most of all. This is where it gets interesting. There are situations where staying close to an ex is completely healthy. Signs include a breakup that was mutual and respectful. There is complete emotional closure, no longing, no unresolved hurt, no emotional residue. Communication is transparent, not hidden. You feel included and secure, not left out or dismissed. In these cases, the ex is simply part of a story, not their present. Think of it like an old chapter in a book. It shaped them, but it's not the chapter that they're living now. And this is what it looks like in everyday life. Your partner mentions their ex in passing, the same way they'd mention an old colleague. There's no emotional charge, no shift in energy, no defensiveness. If they bump into their ex at the shops, they'll tell you about it openly. If they need to communicate about kids or logistics, they show you the messages without hesitation. You don't feel like you're competing with anyone. You're included. You feel like you're part of the whole picture. But let's be honest for a moment. Not all situations look like that. There are also situations where the relationship with the ex is absolutely impacting your connection with your partner. Signs include feeling like you come second. Your partner gets defensive or secretive when the ex comes up. Emotional intimacy looks like it's still present. They confide in their ex more than they confide in you. Your partner struggles to set boundaries, or they minimize your feelings, or they hide messages, and they can insist that it's nothing while acting like it's actually something. Now, you might ask a simple question about their ex and the partner snaps. Why are you making a big deal out of this? Or you notice that they've deleted messages, or they tell you that they're just friends, but they're sharing emotional details with their ex that they don't share with you. Or they light up when the ex calls in a way that they don't with you. They can even defend an ex more fiercely than they defend the relationship. In those situations, the issue isn't the ex, it's the lack of clarity and boundaries in your relationship. It's the emotional leakage. It's the blurred lines, the secrecy, the defensiveness. It's the energy that doesn't match the explanation. Feeling uncomfortable doesn't mean you're being unreasonable, but it doesn't always automatically mean that your partner is doing something wrong. Your job is to get curious about the emotions. Is this coming from something happening now, or is this coming from something unresolved within yourself? Your feelings are valid, but they're not proof. They are signals. They're information, and they're invitations to look deeper. And they're asking you to slow down and understand what's actually being triggered. If you've experienced betrayal, abandonment, or emotional neglect, this situation may hit deeper. Old wounds can shape present reactions. You might be reacting to the ex when really you're reacting to a past partner who hurt you. You might be reacting to the fear of being blindsided again. You might be reacting to the fear of being replaced. You might even be reacting to the fear of not being good enough. And so here's what that can look like. Your partner's ex sends a message about something harmless and your whole body goes into alert mode. not because of what's happening now, but because your nervous system is remembering the last time someone said it's nothing and it actually turned out to be fucking something. Or your partner mentions their ex in a story and suddenly you're spiraling, not because of the story, but because you are remembering the time someone compared you to their ex in a way that cut deep. This doesn't make you irrational. It makes you human, but it does mean that you need to separate your past from your present so that you can respond rather than react. And this is where the difference between insecurity and intuition becomes crucial. You got to ask yourself, do I feel unsafe because something is happening now? Or do I feel unsafe because of something that happened before? Insecurity is fear from the past. Intuition is information from the present. Insecurity can feel frantic and panicked and like a spiral. Intuition, though, feels grounded, quiet, and persistent. Insecurity says, I'm not enough. Intuition says, something isn't adding up. Learning to distinguish the two helps you stay grounded and it helps you communicate clearly. It helps you avoid projecting old pain onto a new relationship. It is one of the most crucial elements of therapy with me. It's the one gift I say that I can teach people is really learning how to decipher the difference between that panicked inner critic and that grounded intuition and the guide. Now, how you talk about this matters, right? Instead of saying, I don't want you talking to your ex, which immediately puts your partner or anyone on the defensive, try saying, when contact with your ex is hidden or minimized, I feel uncertain about where we stand. I need some transparency and reassurance. This keeps the conversation grounded, not accusatory. It invites collaboration, not defensiveness, and it says, I want to understand, not I want to control. And this difference matters entirely. Healthy boundaries are not about control. They're about protecting the integrity of your connection. Boundaries sound like no secret communication, no private emotional support role with the ex. You are included where appropriate. Group events, shared parenting communication, social situations. Clear limits around frequency and tone of contact. Boundaries create safety. Safety creates trust. Trust creates connection, and connection is what makes the relationship feel secure. But let's talk about when it becomes a deal breaker. Sometimes the situation doesn't improve. Sometimes the ex remains emotionally prioritized. And sometimes your partner is unwilling to set boundaries. If your feelings are continually dismissed and the dynamic stays murky no matter how many conversations you have to look at whether your partner is still emotionally living in the past. Because if you're trying to build a future in a space where your partner is still emotionally living in the past, you've got a few major roadblocks ahead. So what does this look like in everyday life? Well, you've had the same conversation 10 times and nothing fucking changes. You're constantly feeling like you're competing with a ghost, or your partner defends the ex more than they defend the relationship. And you feel like you're always on the outside of something you're supposed to be a part of. Ultimately, you will end up feeling like you're being tolerated, not chosen. The real question becomes, is there room for you in the relationship? Are you building something together, or are you competing with a memory? Are you being chosen, or are you being managed? A partner's past doesn't need to be a threat to your present, as long as honesty and boundaries are clear. What matters isn't that your partner had a life before you. What matters is whether they are fully in this life with you now. Security comes from transparency, consistency, and shared emotional commitment. It comes from knowing that your partner is choosing you, not out of obligation, but out of intention. So, a few reflection questions for you. Do I feel included in my partner's life the way I want to be? Is my discomfort based on something happening now or something unresolved within me? What boundaries would help me feel secure, and are they reasonable? Does my partner respond with openness or defensiveness when I raise this? I want to thank you for being here with me today and really having a good look at seeing how you can answer some of those questions. If this episode has stirred something in you, I want you to sit with it. These are the conversations that help us understand ourselves and our relationships more deeply. Come find me on socials and tell me what resonated or challenged you. And if someone in your world needs the perspective of this episode, share it with them. Take care of yourself, and remember, your partner's past doesn't define your worth. What matters is how they show up for you now. One of my big goals for this year is to get this podcast into the ears of more people who genuinely need it. So if this episode has made you think, feel, or see things a little differently, I need to ask you a favour. Follow it, rate it, leave a comment, or share it with someone who might need it too. The more you pay it forward, the more I get to keep doing what I do and hopefully help a few more people along the way. And don't stop there. Be sure to tag me at @VVincieTherapist so that I can see and connect with you. I love hearing your thoughts and takeaways, so my inbox is always open. DM me anytime. Thanks again for listening. I'll catch you next time.